So, what is going on, guys? I am BlackOpsAmazing. Welcome back to another zombies video on the channel, where today we are going to be talking storyline for Blood of the Dead. There are a ton of radios in this map. Half of them are from the Warden and the other half are from Dr. Maxis. Now, whilst Dr. Maxis talks more about the blood vials, the Warden talks more about the storyline of Blood and exactly how he went on to become BRUTUS. And so instead of confusing you guys and giving you a ton of information at once, since the radios from the Warden and Maxis don't link up too much, I'm going to do separate videos for both. And today, we're going to take a look at the ones from the Warden. As always, if you enjoy the video, drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed, but let's get into it. Here we go. So I will let you listen to the radios. There are 3 in total. These are all from the Warden of Alcatraz, and then I will come back and explain what's going on after. And I also just want to mention, if at any point it seems like the radios are getting a little bit strange, there's a gap of silence or it seems like the Warden is talking to himself, well, that's because he is. There is a voice talking to the Warden in his head.
Today is a red letter occasion. I sit in my sanctuary, brandy in hand, overlooking my prize. My prison. Mine. A temple of concrete and corrupted flesh, tilting on the axis of hell itself. Oh, it is beautiful. I can't recall the last time I indulged in spirits. They appear to have gone to my head. Congratulations and good luck. So thoughtful of the DOJ to send me a bottle after all their posturing and blathering and delays. But now the island is open, a full year early, thanks to me and its true purpose. Our purpose, written in the apocryphal pages of history, pulled from the flames of ignorance. Glass. The first drop of blood. Of course, it should be my own. Not too much now. Not yet. Early to bed tonight. Tomorrow, I will be reborn. What am I doing wrong? Nothing. Every interpretation by every scholar I have made real in flesh and blood, and still the Dark Ones remain silent. They are deaf, blind, and dumb wherever it is they reside in the fabric of reality. Have I not bled the wicked? Have I not placed the markers on the proper lines? What more? What more? I am tired, and I have grown so very disturbed waiting for the release that was promised, but I fear will never be delivered. Because they do not exist. No. Wretched are the thralls who despair in darkness. Wretched, wretched, wretched! The work will continue, with or without the Illuminati. All they do is talk and scheme and pass judgment on methods that they deem unorthodox. What the hell with their protection? I will awaken this island, even if it takes every last soul in her walls. If I fail, I will be locked in here and soon join them all in hell. The result is the same. The time has come. The sponge is wet on my crown. The cap screws tightened. The switch in my hand. Oh, I'm going to burn. Oh, the fools. They want justice for the toll I've extracted from this forsaken island.
Sir, there's some men from the Bureau here. I stalled them as long as I could, but they're on their way to your office now. What do you want me to tell them?
Justice? There is no such thing. There's only the will of the Dark One.
Okay. I'll just tell him you're not feeling so well then, yeah?
Do as you wish. Run, hide, beg for absolution, and perhaps he will be merciful, as he has been with me. My lord, you're here. Yes. Yes, the threshold. One last flash of light, and the sun shall vanish into the sea. The darkness shall spread. Through every fiber of creation it shall spread.
Listen, I told you, he ain't here. He went to see some special doc on the mainland. You guys are wasting your time.
I shall be its instrument.
Oh, come on, guys, cut me a break.
I shall bleed the chosen few. The gateway will open, and paradise will fall.
Yeah. See there? What'd I tell you? Nobody's home. Nothing here.
No! Contraption! Yes, I can hear you. Apologies, my lord. I am here. Oh, thank you, my lord. Thank you. I've done my best to prepare the way. Please, where are you now? I see. Tell me what I must do. Salvatore, Finn, Billy, Al. Yes, my lord, I know these names. A trap for another. Forgive my ignorance, Lord, but how will I know what to do?
Sir, it's me, Stanley. We have a situation.
Damn the situation, Ferguson. You handle it. I am not to be disturbed.
I'm real sorry to interrupt your prayers, sir, but there's been a murder up on the roof. It's Al Arlington.
Arlington?
Yes, sir. Part of some kind of botched escape attempt. We got Sal DeLuca and his two cronies in custody. Looks like it was them.
I'll be right there. My lord, I entreat thee to speak. I have done as you asked. The remaining 3 of the first 4 shall die by electric chair this evening, and soon after I shall join them. It will be glorious in this new realm, Lord, I have no doubt, but I confess, I am afraid. This form is weak and has taken to drink, but I do cling to it still. Please, grant me the strength to... Yes, my lord, of course. My life is part of the disease, and the disease must be purged. I rejoice that day has come. Oh, thank you for saying so, my lord. Truth be told, I long for the miracle that will release me. Such an honor for me. The doctor. I've heard mention of him amongst the Illuminati. What would you have of him? I swear, my lord, it will be done. Name it, my lord. Yes, Richtofen shall suffer.
So we learned that actually, the Warden was never Stanley Ferguson. Since Mob of the Dead, we've had this idea that Ferguson, the prison guard, turned into Brutus. However, we can see that isn't the case. They are 2 separate people. Brutus was the Warden of Alcatraz. It was never Stanley Ferguson. However, during that time of Mob, we had good reason to believe that it could have been him. A lot of the characters, especially Sal, said quotes like, "Is Brutus Ferguson taking his revenge on us?" They would mention about how they think Brutus is Ferguson, but it turns out it wasn't. Ferguson was only ever the prison guard, whilst Brutus was the warden of Alcatraz. And this is him talking. He starts off talking about how he's sitting in his sanctuary, brandy in hand, overlooking his prison, his prize. He calls it a temple of concrete floating on the axis of hell itself. But he mentions about how he's indulging with spirits, and that it appears they have gone to his head, which could be the reason as to why he begins to hear voices later on. It seems like the warden was doing some kind of satanic ritual to summon some kind of spirit. He says after so many delays he's finally managed to get the prison open 1 year early, thanks to him and its true purpose. Our purpose. So it seems like the warden's true intentions was to never open the prison and to run it correctly. He didn't want to run Alcatraz as a prison would be. He was planning to do things different. He wanted to use Alcatraz for a different reason. It sounds in the radios after opening the prison that he's doing his very first ritual. He says the very first drop of blood, well, it should be my own. Again, it seemed like he was trying to summon spirits. And then he says, early to bed for now, tomorrow I will be reborn. And that is the first radio. And of course, the only other character that has ever said I will be reborn is Brutus, which is more proof that later on, the warden becomes Brutus in the prison. The warden, just like Richtofen was working along with the Illuminati. It's not very clear the reason for this. I presume maybe they would have helped in opening the prison, and they are assisting the warden in his plans, but it seems like even they didn't agree with his methods. The things that the warden was doing were even too unorthodox for the Illuminati. His plan was to awaken the island, and he said if he fails, he would be locked in this prison and soon join them all in hell, and if he succeeds, well, the result is the same. He again is going to join them in hell, in the satanic iteration of Alcatraz. But the warden, even after all of these rituals, trying to summon the spirits, no longer knowing what he really has to do, what his next step of the plan is, goes to kill himself. Strapping himself to an electric chair in a secret room in his house, he goes to kill himself. That is until he is interrupted by Stanley Ferguson. Stanley tells the warden that some people from the Bureau are here, and he stalled them for as long as he could, and then suddenly a voice begins to talk to him in his head. This voice, I believe, is the Shadow Man. Just like how the Shadow Man was talking to Richtofen during his grand scheme to take control of the zombies. Just how it was the Shadow Man then telling Richtofen all of these evil things to do, I believe that the same thing is happening to the warden. He has summoned the Shadow Man and he is now speaking to him in his head, telling him the next steps on what he needs to do. The voice tells the warden of 4 inmates. Of course, these are Sal, Billy, Finn and Al. He tells him of these names. The warden replies, yes, I know who these are. What do you want me to do? The Shadow Man says something to the warden and he replies again, a trap for another. So it seems like he wants the warden to use the Mob of the Dead crew as a trap to trap another, and that other character, I believe, is Richtofen. So they're going to set up a trap in blood, and this trap is going to trap the PRIMIS crew, and that's exactly what happened. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, the warden asks the voice exactly what he wants him to do with the Mob of the Dead crew, and then Stanley interrupts him again and tells him about the murder on the rooftop, about how the 4 mobsters were planning to escape, it went wrong, and Sal, Billy and Finn ended up killing Arlington on the roof. And so the 3 mobsters were captured and are currently kept in custody. And so the warden, now knowing what to do, tells the voice that he has done what he asked. He has sentenced the remaining 3 of the first 4 to die by electric chair. And he says, and soon after, I will join them. The warden tells the voice that it will be glorious in this new realm that he's going to join. He has no doubt. However, he is a bit afraid. Even though he thinks his current form, how he is now just a normal human, is weak, he says he still clings to it. He asks the voice to grant him the strength, and then the voice basically tells him, look, your life is diseased. You are ill, you are sick, and the only way that you can purge of this disease is by electrocuting yourself and sending yourself to purgatory along with the other 3 mobsters. The voice is telling the warden he needs to listen to what he is saying if he wants to rid of his disease. And then before he goes, the very last thing the voice says to him, he mentions Richtofen. He seems to tell him when Richtofen falls into this trap and arrives at Mob to pick up the blood vials, when you are in purgatory as Brutus, it is your job to trap him and make him suffer. And that's exactly what we see happen in the Blood of the Dead intro. The warden traps the PRIMIS crew by closing their portal, and he is currently making them suffer in blood. And that is the very last thing we hear. After this, the warden kills himself along with the other 3 surviving mobsters. They are all sent to Purgatory, where the warden turns into Brutus and he sets out on his mission. So that is extremely interesting. First off, all of this time, Stanley Ferguson wasn't Brutus, it was the warden. But also it kind of tells us how the warden was evil. He never planned to open up a prison to run it properly. He was actually planning to do satanic rituals to turn it into a hellish place. He wanted a different life, and as he was summoning these spirits, the Shadow Man then began to talk to him in his head, where he told the warden that he is sick, and the only way that he can be purged, that he can be fixed, is if he kills himself and he gets sent to Purgatory in a different body as Brutus, where he will be stronger, he will be better, and he sends him there with the mission to trap the PRIMIS crew. The reason why the warden sentenced Sal, Billy and Finn to death by electric chair was because that's what the Shadow Man told them to do. It was a trap to trap Richtofen, and it worked. So there we go. I've always thought maybe there's the possibility that the voice in his head is Dr. Monty. It's never revealed to us, but to me it would make the most sense to be the Shadow Man, since he's done this before to other characters, including Richtofen. So there we go. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Hopefully you have enjoyed the video. If you have, as always, drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, goodbye.